Calling all beings. Calling all beings.
Yeah!
Woo!
Can somebody give me an amen for this panel? Anybody in the joint?
Hey, man, let's go.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what.
Amen.
Dr. Tim Mounts, he done been in enough churches, man. He's from Northern Mississippi.
You got that right.
Are you
Sunday
from-
morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, tent revivals, Bible school, Bible drills. All of it.
Dr. Tim, one of my best friends is from Corinth. Is that near you or no? Not.
It's near-ish. Corinth is very North Mississippi, near the
Right.
Tennessee line. And
Yeah.
I grew up in a small county called Pontotoc, Mississippi, and that's an Indian word, means land of hanging grapes. And that's right between Tupelo, birthplace of the king, and Oxford, where I went to school, Ole Miss.
And when he says the king, hopefully everybody knows that means Elvis Presley. So
I was like, oh, do they think I'm talking about Jesus? It's born in Tupelo.
all right, let's introduce the panel right here. The voice you are seeing down below me with wearing the muscle shirt, much to the delight of many of the cabbies, is the host of All Things Unexplained, none other than Dr. Tim Mounts. Yeah!
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Oh, he did it.
Obligatory.
He did. He went there.
He did.
I mean, since we were talking about the king.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't know about that whole thing about the Elvis impersonators and all the drama between them and the feds and everything else. I didn't realize about that story.
Snap, yeah.
Yes.
Wild
So-
story. I know some of those people in there too. And Jeez.
Why am I not surprised?
yeah, well, I mean, it's a small town, small world. Holy cow.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to cover that on another show. Next to me is one of our newest cabbie moderators. I think she's the second to newest. She's amazing. She is a genuine Boricua from New York, and she is just a brilliant person whom we rely on to kind of set context in almost any situation. So we're very, very fortunate to have her as a member of Calling All Beings family. Put them together for Miss Ruthie Robles.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias. Gracias. Hello, everyone.
Hello, welcome. Next to Ruthie is her Boricua sister. She comes to us from Puerto Rico to Texas to Oklahoma, where apparently she's got a lot of chickens and animals to look after and a farm. Put them together for Akashi Chris.
Hey.
I'm so happy to be here. If I looked panicked at the beginning as you guys were talking, it was hilarious. I had 3 sessions of DJ going amen, and I was trying to find like all my DJ windows, and it's like amen, amen, amen. I'm like, oh my God.
That's overwhelming.
It
A lot
was
of
like
amens.
so many amens. I feel so religious. Thank you for having me tonight. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. In fact, you are part of CAB, so you're kind of automatically part of it. But the fact that you love conspiracies made you a shoo-in for this episode. You had to be here.
Yeah. I'm
the
sorry,
next-
my sister's not here tonight. So Sati was supposed to be here
yeah.
tonight, and she's not able to join us tonight because she's been at the hospital all week. But she loves conspiracies as well. So you're going to have her back for that. Back to you, buddy.
She sent me some messages today. She sounds exhausted, but what I said, her looking after a friend in need when there's emergencies going on, that's all you need to know. Nothing else matters. The show doesn't matter. She's
That's
doing
commendable.
great work. Yes. Up above Akashi is believe it or not, somebody who also has a conspiracy she about to bring out tonight, Cab co-host Boston Bia.
Hey, Boston Bella in the house.
Hi, everyone. Happy Saturday. Looking forward to spending the next hour and a half with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't expect you to have a conspiracy, but you never know what's going to happen on Cab. So
Never know. Never know. The unexplained.
Exactly. One of the original, you know what? We need to play that clip from Steve for Dr. Tim Mounts tonight. I believe he's heard it, but maybe later on. Remember the clip we listened to last week? There was two, and there was one that kind of blew us all away. Maybe later on the show, we'll try to get a reaction from Dr. Tim Mounts and Debs, since the rest of us have heard it. Anyway, this next young lady, to Bia's right, is an original gangster of Calling All Beings. She has been here since we started in 2021. And by the way, don't miss it. Late August, either the 22nd or 29th, we'll be celebrating the 5th anniversary of Cab. I expect every cabbie will be there, and there will be some special guests. Party people, put them together for a study of UAPs. Debs!
Woo!
There's my... There it goes. Woohoo!
Yes. I guess the girls outrank the guys, huh?
Yeah.
We were talking about that today, whether it's true crime, whether it's UFOs, the girls outnumber the guys. I mean, you girls are leading the way, whether it's the phenomenon, whatever, you girls are leading the way and having your voice heard. So we need to just be there and speak with you. So thank you, ladies, for leading the way as you have
We
done.
have a lot to say.
You do. Yes.
Lots.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot to say.
I think he's here.
Yeah.
Hey!
Hola, Benny. ¿Cómo estás?
All right. And Ruthie's probably spoke with him this week. So yeah, we need to get with him as well. All right. Let's kick it off. Who wants to start off? Because it doesn't matter to me. You're pointing at Ruthie. Well, we got to start somewhere in the screen that makes sense.
Not I.
You want to start with Debs? Debs, you want to kick it off? I don't know where Debs is.
Yeah, I was actually earlier saying something, and I was just messaging. Did you guys hear me?
No, we did
We
not
couldn't
hear
hear
it.
you.
No, it could be because you were on mute.
Oh no, but I went on mute after I tried to say something. I was saying that I need to make an original gangsta sign.
You do, yeah. We need some sort of cab gang sign that's West Coast or East Coast or
So that like
or 2-1 Homes.
when the men in black are after us, we can signal to each other, something like that. Okay, so I guess the biggest conspiracy that I'm seeing that is confounding to me right now is the response actually to the UFO dumps that are happening, all the documents and the videos. So this is an ongoing conspiracy in the UFO community. People think it's a psyop. So I think that is what I want to bring to the table first. So there's this conflict that I'm seeing. Some people are like, oh, the U.S. government knows everything and they're not telling us anything yet. And then there's the other side that's like, they don't know anything. So that's the conundrum I wanted to bring up.
Ooh, it looks like we might have a new book from Dr. Mounts. We're going to have to get to that later on. Okay. So with the way this is going to go, just from the way we're set up on screen, is Boston Bia, Akashi, Ruthie, and Dr. Mounts, and then I might have something from the Peanut Gallery. So Boston Bia, what's your reaction to that? Is this, I guess the crux, is this a psyop? And then also it sounds like you want to know, Debs, do you believe they know everything or they don't know anything? And the truth probably lies in the middle, but go ahead, Boston Bia.
In my humble opinion, I think how quickly we got the information, as far as it was alluded to, then things started dropping, that this was part of a bigger plan. And I don't think they know everything, but I think they have had enough time to study what it is that they know.
To study
so,
UAPs? I'm sorry, Debs. Sorry.
So yeah. So that's where my stance is. Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of missed that one. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, Akashi, what is your stance on what Deb's presented? Is there a psyop involved? Do they know everything? Do they not know anything? Where are you at?
Well, I believe that even Burchett and Anna Paulina Luna have mentioned that they have seen stuff that's like 10,000 times better than what has been released so far. Based on how they have released information in the past and the fact that it did happen so quickly. I mean, of course, 50 years in the making, but that it did happen so quickly, it feels like this is Files light by their own admission. So is it a psyop? It's dangling a carrot. You know, it's like, are they gonna like flinch at the carrot, or what are they gonna do with this? Because it's all about testing. It's all about testing particular people and how they're gonna react to things before they go all out. So I think, you know, this is Files light, in my opinion, not necessarily a psyop, but a controlled, very, very controlled message. In my opinion. Fair.
No, does someone want to say somebody's name that's in the middle of the screen next to you, Akashi?
Ruthie Robles, what do you think?
Hi. Okay, so I have two opinions or two conspiracies, or however you want to put it. One is they're trying to hide something from us, the Epstein list, the Epstein files, and putting all these stuff out for us to forget about what's actually going on, and giving us, like she said, like Miss Akashi, like a carrot dangling, like, here, take it, and then they pull it away. Little things that we probably already seen on the internet, and you know, they want to now say that, you know, it's real, guys. Okay, we've been know it, but also there's the blue beam where they want to pretend that this evasion is happening with aliens and all this and that. In reality, it's not real and it's manufactured. So the way all this stuff is coming in, I want to see a real freaking alien shaking the hands of the president. If I don't see that, then what are you guys telling me? I already know this, you know?
I'll tell you what, man. Girlfriend drives a hard bargain. The only one thing I want to say about dangling,
You know?
the only thing I want to say about dangling the carrot is it's good for the eyesight, right, Dr. Tim?
Oh yeah, carrots are real good for us.
Dr. Tim Mounts, the host of All Things Unexplained that he does with his co-hosts CJ and Smitty. They're three really smart people. Every one of them has taught school, and you can tell clearly I wasn't one of their students, or I'd be smarter. Tim, what do you think about that? As far as is there a psyop going on, and do they know everything? Do they know nothing? Where are you at on the continuum?
Well, look, first of all, we should never expect anything from the government. That's just the way it is. And there's no doubt in my mind that these UFO files, and there is some intriguing stuff in there, mostly the historical stuff, but there's no doubt in my mind that there is somewhere between disinformation and psyops going on within these files and what we are seeing. I mean, just look at the new involvement of Dr. Phil. I mean, believe it or not, that actually had, I mean, he got the last files early. His involvement actually has some people very concerned that because he is a voice of reason, a voice of trust for a lot of people, and that his involvement is a sign, a signal of some sort of potentially catastrophic disclosure that is imminent. Now, that is what some people think. But then look at the debacle that was aliens.gov. Like, what a farce. It was very reminiscent of the Phoenix Lights farce, where the mayor of Phoenix went in front of everyone and brought out this dude in an alien costume and just made a big joke out of it, right? Like, just when you think they're taking it serious, they do something like aliens.gov. And by the way, they totally played up, the extraterrestrial UFO angle of that in just a humiliating way. That was horrible. But there are some very serious things embedded in these files. Like, there's one particular incident, and I won't talk too much more on this, in the Western United States. It's been in the first 3 releases at least. The FBI, it involved orbs. It involved the military helicopters chasing the orbs, looking for them, a cave or a cavern entrance. It involved the FBI responding. And in my opinion, there's really only 2 ways the FBI responds here. And one is espionage, and 2 is the FAA. And both of those could have been in play here because we have public reporting of our sensitive sites where FAA airspace has been shut down in Palmdale, for example. And then in Plant 42, they were being invaded by what they called at the time drones. And at the exact same time, the population in Palmdale was literally seeing things in the sky and reporting them as UFOs. And then we have the creation of this UAP Advisory Council with Avi Loeb. And by the way, their primary objective is national security. And then a lot of people forget in 2024, we had this lawmaker, Jeff Van Drew. He goes on Fox News Live, and he says, there is an Iranian mothership off the East Coast launching drones into the United States. He said he has sources that told him that. So it's hard to know exactly what to believe, but it's clear to see that there's some sort of funny business going on.
I just want to respond to Steve, but before I do, I want to welcome back. This young lady had been missing. She had things going on. She is the OG of cab moderators, and I'd like to give a round of applause for our amazing mod, Jules. Welcome back, Jules.
Hooray.
And we also welcome Sarah Shakanhara from a friend's birthday party, and we always celebrate people taking care of their business. The show can wait. We can wait. You go and take care of what you got to take care of, and we're ready to welcome you in. Relative to what Steve Wolf says, I will say that Kurt Russell was not the only one flying about during this Phoenix Lights. That Luke Air Force Base, which housed at that time in 97, they had a wing of F-16s there. And they also launched, as you would expect, during Phoenix Lights. And I have not heard, and I don't know if Dr. Tim has any direct testimony or Debs from those pilots, but the crew chiefs who caught those aircraft when they landed they have spoken to people in the UFO community and said these guys were like white as a sheet when they landed. Whatever they saw up there, however the size of this craft, I mean, that would look like Independence Day, as big as that craft was. It was miles across. So yes, Luke Air Force Base did. I don't want to use the word intercept because you're not intercepting something like that, but they did go up and have a look at what that craft was. Now getting to my answer, since the peanut gallery is going to weigh in tonight, we're a little light on, we expected a couple more conspirators, I guess we could say. So in answer to your question, is this a psyop? And this is kind of not going to diverge at all from what Bia, Akashi, Ruthie, and Tim said. There's always some sort of a psychological operation going on because you want to control disclosure. Otherwise, it's just letting everything out there, let everybody see everything, see what happens. And that's never a good idea when you're in government because you don't know what's going to happen and you don't want to release information without having a very, very good idea of what the result of that is going to be from that standpoint. Dr. Mounts mentioned Dr. Phil, one of his colleagues, another PhD OGG. And you know, there have been PhDs in psychology and sociology that have consulted with the White House on this topic for decades, literally decades. But Dr. Phil happens to be a face that we all know and that America trusts. I think Ross Coulthart said something analogous to that. And it's true that, someone like Dr. Phil has decades himself on television. He's a trusted voice of America. Obviously, he has the trust of the administration, and they elected to utilize, collaborate, synthesize with Dr. Phil on some elements of disclosure, the exact nature of which we don't know, but I'm for my part, I'm really glad about it. As far as the second part of your question, Debs, they definitely don't know nothing, and they definitely don't know everything. And I don't think that should surprise anyone on the panel or anyone in the audience. And now, how do we know that? When you listen to the best sources on this topic as to what the government knows, the best sources we have are people like Jim Semivan, because he was, I don't know, head of foreign service officers for the CIA. So if he says something that he believes it's this, take it to the bank as far as what the government knows, because we know that the CIA has knowledge on these programs, as well as other entities that we don't even know the source or what agency these entities work for. Department of Energy, we don't know. But yes, certainly they know something. Definitely they do not know nothing, and definitely they do not know everything, because how could you possibly know everything? That would be an absurd comment to make, because we can't know everything when we don't even know all the intelligences are out there and where they're from. So that's my take on that. Please hold your applause till the end, though.
DJ, could you pull something up for me?
Yes,
I put a screenshot there.
Okay.
See the hell? Yeah. So this is
Oh my
literally the image, the cover image of the UAP Advisory Council's public survey. Okay, someone on the UAP Advisory Council, this is their artistic rendering of one of the encounters in the UAP files, the Western U.S. encounter at a site. It's my belief this happened at the Nevada test site.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that he's drawn what appears to be some sort of huge cavern or cave opening, and they have orbs. They're calling them orbs in the UAP files, which I find interesting, right? And they're having a very close encounter with a military helicopter. And this is their understanding of what that incident looked like at this Western U.S. site. And I mean, that just gives you something to think about, in my opinion.
Well, let's go there, Tim, because we played the Jesse Michaels video on this show. So, I mean, you, Debs, Akashi, I think you guys are best placed to weigh in on this more than myself or anybody else here. What do you guys think? What about that narrative? Because the Jesse Michaels interview seemed to indicate that it was in Mexico. Am I wrong about that? Where the fighter jets chased those helicopters that flew into the mountain, it opened up, and then are we talking about the same thing here or no?
I can say that I did not see that Jesse Michaels interview, but I would say that this reminds me very much of the Foo Fighters, which is the third wave of sightings that were reported and that occurred during World Wars. And as we know, Graham Randall has a lot of books about that.
Yes.
But this is what that looks like to me. These look like Foo Fighters.
Well, we did cover it, so I encourage you to tune into Calling All Beings, Debs.
Yeah, I don't remember this particular incident.
You like my laugh track? Is that good? No, maybe not. All right, Tim, your thoughts? Do you think is this the same incident or did you not see the Jesse Michaels? I'm trying to remember who's.
This is not the same incident. If the incident he was talking about was in Mexico, because they spell it out in now 3 different releases of the UFO files that this incident occurred at a Western United States site, and it had FBI involvement, which happened because, again, it was at a United States site. It's my opinion that this incident represents the Nevada test site. I think there's a slim chance it represents Plant 42 near Palmdale, but I think it's more likely it represents the Nevada test site. And they still have not released that's still redacted where that exactly took place at. Now, you won't have to wonder how much does Avi Loeb and the rest of the UAP Advisory Council know about that.
Mhm.
But it's that's part of what I can't figure out, because I think they had some sort of prior intelligence, which is why they went to investigate this cave. They believed, in my opinion, that these orbs were coming from and returning to potentially a subterranean area. I even located
Mhm.
an abandoned subterranean area near Plant 42 that is now under security guards. They put up a guard shack. There's a active security truck guarding the
Mhm.
little road out in the middle of nowhere that leads down to an abandoned mine near Plant 42. Now, who utilizes that? Why did they block the public from that?
Mhm.
Oh, shortly before the drone incursion started, I can't tell you, but something here doesn't add up.
Tim, is this one where the terrain opened up to accept that helicopter and those orbs, or no? Or is it just always open like this?
Well, in the file, it said that they hovered at the cavern entrance for quite a while, that it was not safe for them to land there, but they did hover at the cavern entrance for a while. Now,
Wow.
and like I said, it's been in all three, the first three UFO files. At some point, I believe it 2023 was the first incident, but maybe I'm wrong. It could have been 2024. But anyway, this spurred some U.S. intelligence official to go out there and
Wow.
investigate. And they had their own encounter. And this is what brought in the FBI. So again, if this was at the Nevada test site, we're not really talking about FAA airspace here, but we are talking about espionage.
Wow.
Which is why, again, I feel like there's some disinformation out there, because there's also reporting by Christopher Sharp and others through sources that the military has been luring these things into our sensitive sites. Well, you tell me, DJ, in your experience, is it really espionage if we're luring things into our sites? It's certainly not an adversary country as we think of it, I don't believe.
Yeah, I think espionage is the wrong word, only because as Americans or as humans, we associate that with foreign intelligence services, and I don't think that's this. So yeah, I have to agree with you, Chris. Like, objects like this have been seen coming into Dulce, New Mexico for years, into that piece of terrain in Dulce, right? Dulce. Before Bia corrects me, let me get that right. Dulce.
Yeah, on this particular one, and I don't know enough about the background on this image. I mean, was it specifically like the three? Was there a particular reference to three, or does the image just show, for
there
you
were
know,
at
Tim?
least 3 orbs involved in this incident. As a matter of fact, at one point, one of the orbs appeared to release several smaller orbs that went in separate directions. So a lot happened.
So there was more than 3 potentially.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know if this was. I'm not a fan of the whole image 370 thing. I don't like to even talk about it, but I always see those images where they're always showing the 3 orbs and the 3 orbs and going around. And it's like, I just wanted to make sure that's not what this was trying to depict.
Just take it as it's an image of orbs going in a piece of terrain and a helicopter following. What do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm with Debs in that this is Foo Fighters. This just feels like another. It's just another piece of the puzzle. This has all been out there for so long, and if this starts to come out, can you imagine what they didn't show on this particular incident?
And just when she's talking about Foo Fighters, just so you know, Dave Grohl has nothing to do with these Foo Fighters. That's a totally different thing. So, okay, there's
That's
that.
Tom DeLonge.
Yes.
Not exactly different rock band.
Blink 182.
All right, let's get everybody off the screen. It looks like we got
Can I
some
say
gifts.
something, DJ?
Yes, please.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So here's what I like.
Yeah,
You notice that we are the U.S. Helicopter is behind them, and it's not that they're coming after, and the U.S. is kind of running like scared. So that image kind of gives me a sense of strength for our on our side that we are following. So we look like we're more in control rather than they're coming after us and like we're scared of something happening. So that actually gave me some like confidence.
I just want to say thank you to Dit.55 for the 2, and want to thank Law Wifey 25, Jana, for our 10 memberships. Thank you very much, Jana. We greatly appreciate that, ma'am.
You got that, DJ?
I got it all. Got it under
Okay.
control. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say, I would caution everybody on the panel, and I think Akashi was alluding to this, is we don't know the veracity of that photo compared to events. And I think that's what she's getting at, is sometimes they're using technology to create a photo and it doesn't necessarily even represent the narrative or what actually happened, or if there is an actual photo of this from, because a lot of times aircraft, like here, just to give you kind of like a frame of reference, you're looking at what looks to be, I mean, it could be an MH-60 from the 160th. It could be an HH-60 from the Air Force, but generally they fly in twos. So there'll be a wingman. Even my aircraft I flew, we would a lot of times we would fly in a pair. So especially if you need more than one to get the mission done. So if that's the case, there could be a photo of Chalk 2, what we would call number 2 in the formation, taking a photo of Chalk 1. And what Akashi's saying is this photo may not represent what it actually looked like. So we got to be careful.
If we put your thought and Bia's thought together, because I like where Bia was going with this, what did she pick up on? The strength, right?
Yes.
You know, she's looking at it from a different perspective. So she's picking up on that statement of strength. So what we're looking at, it might be a message of strength. We're still in control, guys. It's okay.
Yeah, look at
the real thing might not have that sense of strength, but that's what they're going to show us. And that's exactly what Bia picked up on. That's what they want. So,
and look at how much smaller those orbs are compared to the strong U.S. helicopter. We're in control.
Helicopter, yeah.
And,
So
go ahead.
And what is that?
Yeah.
But you just got to keep in mind here, though, what this is. This is the cover art for the public survey of the UAP Advisory Council, which has been formed to help the military. It's actually a cross entity group, so FBI, CIA, military, government, to help them figure out what these things are. And so on the flip side of this coin, that's not strength at all. Like, that's admitting we have no idea what they are, where they're coming from, where they're going back to, who they belong to, how to stop them. That we're literally admitting to that, and we're now asking Avi Loeb and a A-team group of scientists to figure out what they are. It reminds me, I've compared this situation to, and it's not a perfect analogy, I've compared it to the group put together at Bletchley Park, World War II, to attempt to crack the Enigma code.
Ooh. Oh, meaning the German comms, or what do you mean?
Meaning that this is a serious military situation that we're having to bring in outside experts in on to get to the bottom of it. And I think that it's knowing that it could be of potentially equal seriousness to the military that should, really make us continue to dig into these cases and try to get to the truth.
And you know what? Several years later, you still are, and we still are, and Bia has joined us, and it's a worthwhile endeavor. I mean, it can't really get any bigger than Are We Alone? I think that's been said in many interviews with people like Ross Coulthard. Actually, the first interview question with Ross Coulthard and David Grush was what? Anyone remember? He said, "Are we alone?" And David said, "We're definitely not alone." And this guy was cleared high enough to go brief at the White House. So you got to have pretty good reads to go brief at the White House. So And we'll get to that. Maybe later on we'll play some of the David Grush interview if we have time, because that interview, there's certain interviews that never get old, and that's one of them. But let's go on to Boston Bia and her conspiracy theory, which doesn't include duty. So go ahead.
It doesn't, but Ruthie did ask to go next, so I will
I'm
defer.
sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Go ahead, Ruthie. I got your back. No problem.
Okay. Because this one's long. So,
Okay.
have you guys heard about the Nikola Tesla conspiracy theory?
No.
All right.
Or
So,
maybe.
yeah. So Nikola Tesla, what? All right. So how I got into this was, you know how all these scientists were quote unquote, dying or killing themselves. So Nikola Tesla, um, apparently he was a mad scientist to some, and he was a very um okay, smart people to others. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
So
Yeah.
so he was obsessed with the uh great pyramids of Giza, right? So a lot of people don't know what the um pyramids of Giza were made to be or whatever, but in
Mhm.
his mind, he thought it was an energy source. He was
Mhm.
very obsessed with it. So he found a way to harness the energy of the earth to make free electricity. He did this experiment, I think it was in Colorado, and many people say that they saw lightning bolts falling from the sky. And in his notes, he wrote how his experiment worked and all the bolts turned on with like free electricity. And we all know that electricity is one of the biggest things that people pay for. So of course that's not good, right? Um, he was targeted, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, because he found a way to do a um, collecting energy through the environment, through the energy, and with that, he can give free electricity to everyone. He also was known as a mad scientist who created a death ray. And in this conspiracy, this happened in World War II, where he was found dead. I believe he was like 80 years old, but the thing is with his death, that within an hour of his death, American alien programs and secret services took all his stuff, everything he ever um put down in letter and words, all his experiments, um and it disappeared. A lot of them were missing, but now it comes to where his findings connect to HARP, which is a supposedly quote unquote, again quote unquote, conspiracy theory. HARP is a company or whatever you want to call it that can affect the weather. And again, with the death ray, there's a lot of people that talk about seeing electric rays coming down to start fires and all that. That's a whole different thing. So after his death, they took all his files, and many things they did not understand, but many things they did. And the conspiracy theory is that Nikola Tesla found a way to do free energy for the world, but companies like Morgan and Morgan took over, or quote unquote maybe killed them, to get all that to themselves. That's it.
Take it away, Akashi.
Thank you so much, Ruthie, because Tesla's story is so tragic. It's like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Truman Show. Whenever Truman wanted to get somewhere and there was always an obstacle, this is what happened to Tesla all the time, right? That they destroyed, the death ray was called Teleforce. And of course, it's all conspiracy theory, right? But, he called it cosmic energy, what he found. It's like a way to harness the earth, to use those natural resources, and get away from this crazy churning of energy that we have right now, because we just don't want to accept it. So it's so sad. He died alone, broke. Everywhere he turned, he was turned away for somebody else, or his equipment was destroyed over and over again. Or like you said, his paperwork was taken, all his work was stolen and taken. And where did it go? Who knows? So I love Tesla's story. He's so sad, but I love that. I've always wondered the whole 369, his obsession with 369. What was he thinking? So thank you so much, Ruthie, for bringing that to us. It's a good one.
I think the mall had it right, Akashi, because they had that store 579. So they're only off by 2. Tough crowd.
I used to love that store. Oh my goodness. That was my
I
store
could never
back in the
shop
day.
at that store. Good for you, skinny. Some people had to go to the fat girl store.
She's like, do you have 9.5? And they're like, no, we'll cap it at 9. Don't worry, I'm in no danger of shopping. Exactly. I need the Husky Kids clothing. The modern world owes
Pennies. I'm going to JCPenney.
Gosh, the modern world owes Nickel.
My buddy bought a pair of pants. Smitty, he bought a pair of pants at Fred's one time because he spilled his something on his other pants. Like, if you want to get some cheap pants, get them at Fred's, son. Let me tell you.
Fred's. I'm sorry. Back to you.
Oh, Margaret.
Owes Nikola Tesla a great deal of thanks, but we definitely did not get all his tech, all of this stuff. They could probably, I guess there's alternating current for one of them. So yeah, Boston Bia, take it away on the Nikola Tesla conspiracy.
Well, admittedly, I didn't know a lot about him, but one of the things I was doing behind the scenes is trying to see if he was part of the Tesla car company, but it does look like the Tesla brand was named in honor of him.
Right.
So, and it's also no coincidence that also like solar panels, like my bill to the solar company is from Tesla. But as far as his history, I have to say I didn't know much about him, but I know what the modern, when we say Tesla, you just think of the cars, and but I guess that was done in his honor. So that's all I got to say.
Debs, Nikola Tesla conspiracy.
Okay, so interesting story that I found out. Once upon a time, the light bulb companies sat down and had a meeting because some of the light bulbs were lasting too long. In fact, there is one light bulb that is still going that is, I believe, about 100 or something years old in a firehouse. And they decided that they needed to change the light bulbs because they wanted to make money off of them. They didn't want them to last too long. So do I suspect greed would have something to do with the demise of Tesla? Absolutely possible. I do think he had some of his own demons, however. I don't think that he was all together, so to speak. So I think that could have also contributed to his demise. But I think that people were definitely watching him like a hawk to steal his ideas from him.
No question. And the I was going to say, when you think about an incandescent bulb with the filament that runs across it, there's no way that a piece of metal shouldn't be fatigued and break in the middle after all these years. So the fact that that happened is a miracle. I also know I did some reading up on navigation, and they were trying to figure out new ways to navigate in England and I want to say it was in the 1800s. And this guy built a clock made with wooden gears. It's still running today in like York or something. The clock is over 200 years old, has wooden gears, and still runs. Tim's got his watch from Switzerland right there. Yeah,
It's wood. It's wooden. It's a wooden watch.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
wood.
Oh, look at
real,
that.
man. Yeah. For real, man. So anyway, regarding your conspiracy, Ruthie Robles, someone in the chat put it very well. I don't. First of all, I want to confess I don't have a lot of knowledge on Nikola Tesla, so I wouldn't go there. This is a conspiracy that I've heard for the last 5 years about since I started studying UFOs. That I have heard about Nikola Tesla. So I find that there probably is a lot of credibility in that. There's obviously been movies and documentaries made about him. He was in competition for which electricity would power America with Thomas Alva Edison. And obviously, though he didn't get the credit because Thomas Alva Edison was a proponent of DC power. Well, what happens when a generator is running DC power and for some reason that generator slows down, your lights go dim. So as it slows down. So that's why alternating current and why now we used to have DC generators in vehicles and now we have alternators. So, yeah, I don't doubt your conspiracy at all, Ruthie. 0 point energy is something that you would think that the world oil production would not be in favor of something like that. People have been killed for very, very ridiculous reasons that would be at the bottom of a 10,000 line continuum compared to someone producing something that would make companies in stock tank. Especially when you look at the stock market crash of the 1920s. Dr. Tim.
Yeah, so thanks for that conspiracy theory, Ruthie, because I think it's the perfect conspiracy because it still resonates strong today. And it's a great continuation of our previous topic from Deb with the UFO files. Because, and by the way, thank you for bringing up the light bulbs because a lot of people may not realize this, but we all in this country may have something in our light bulbs right down the roads from All Things Unexplained studio. This is actually going in my next book, and that is tungsten. And so 2 brothers down the road here in North Carolina discovered at the time the largest North American tungsten deposit known at the time, and they discovered that, wow, this stuff has a really high melting point. And it's perfect for things like covering tanks in them and then later on light bulbs. So I'm glad you brought up the light bulbs. But Tesla, and I think Ruthie brought up the Epstein files earlier. I think it can tie in here because I do think the UFO files could be a distraction from the UFO files because from what I've been focused on the Epstein files just on one thing, and that's his connection to science and mathematics, physics. And I fully believe that if not Epstein himself, whoever was behind Epstein, they were attempting to achieve a new breakthrough in physics and mathematics. And that should be frightening because he also had conferences on the apocalypse. He literally had conferences called doomsday conferences. And the last major breakthrough in physics we had a little something called the atomic bomb come out of that. And I think it was Einstein that said that he didn't know how World War III would go, but World War IV would start with sticks and stones. And so I think that, we hear all this talk about free energy, but that could come at a price too, right? If we have a breakthrough in gravity, in physics, and we're talking about the military is almost certainly going to be involved here. We have to believe that, this could have also the potential for incredible harm in the world. Ruthie brought up the death ray. That's applicable today too, because look at the reporting that 60 Minutes has done with the Havana syndrome. I mean, what would you call that if not a death ray? It literally is a direct energy weapon that we know is being used on scientists and officials around the world, potentially. I had an astrophysicist after a podcast one night tell me off the air that a colleague of his had been attacked by a direct energy weapon and had physical damage from that, and that they were literally afraid to leave the country because they did not know what would happen to them. And this is because of a literal death ray. And so I think that the Tesla conspiracy theory is terrific because it continues today and continues to resonate.
Yeah, when you look at the energy that he created and what it looked like, it looked like lightning bolts, right? So, Ruthie, when you talk about a death ray, if you're just harnessing and containing that energy in one single beam, if you can harness that into a beam, you have a death ray. I mean, so I can go there quite easily from the energy that he created with his, and again, I'm not a Tesla expert, but it's very easy to see how he could have projected that energy that would have done destruction. It's not a laser technology. It's a laser is a a beam of light, basically an intense beam of light. But this, yeah, I could totally see that. Totally could see that. So that was a great one, Ruthie. Thank you very much. And, maybe we should give a little bit of an applause to Ruthie Robles. Moderators. All right. Our next conspiracy, I believe, is, do you want to go back up to you, Bia, or you want to go to Akashi? On mute, it sounds good. It sounds like...
Oh, I said you can go to Akashi. That's fine.
Okay. Akashi, with your conspiracy, what do we got?
Okay, so everybody thought that I was going to come in with explosive diarrhea with the Cyclospora breakout. But I pivoted at the last minute. But, and I think this one's actually pretty important and really relevant to the conversation that we're having here. We can talk about diarrhea later. So let's talk about, everybody likes to talk about diarrhea, but that is a totally different show. Not for this show. But so there was an article written, Popular Mechanics, seriously speaking, there was a Popular Mechanics article written the other day that talked about inventions that the government doesn't want you to know about. Mm-hmm. And it was looking at all these projects, right, that go unpublished. And it was actually quoting, I didn't know that this existed, and tell me, I might just be stupid and new to this, but the Invention Secrecy Act of 1951. Did you guys know about that?
No.
Okay, so this is really interesting. If a patent application contains technology considered potentially harmful to national security, the government can place it under a secrecy order. Well, guess what? There was like 6,543 patents that are under the secrecy orders. It does not have to be government related. So they can review all these patents and basically say, this does not get released, and nobody ever really hears about it. And there was a FOIA. So what the article was talking about was a FOIA that was done in 2010. That showed that some of the logs said that the things that were getting flagged were energy efficiency. So this kind of ties it all together, right? We got the Tesla piece. We got, the stuff that Tim was talking about. It's like, is this law the way that things are being, suppressed? And maybe it's, money related. Maybe it's not, national security, because that's pretty subjective. This goes back to UAP, right? Don't release it because of national security. Same thing. But now it is like this blanket, and look at the year 1951. You had the CIA created, you got the 1947, all that started to happen. And this law sitting there just protecting, making sure that patents don't get out that they don't want. So, what you guys think?
All right. Who is next to
It's
you? We're
not
gonna-
diarrhea, but
yeah, it's you know what? Nothing
Try
is
it.
going to be as good as diarrhea. We're gonna suffer without that. I don't know which direction. Let's reset. Let's go to Debs, and then we'll go to Bia, and then Ruthie, and then Dr. Tim. So let's start with Debs.
I think that's fascinating. It is slightly alarming. I'm kind of like in the middle when it comes to politics, but I'm also sometimes inclined that the government shouldn't have that much control over us, which goes a little bit, I don't know, towards the Republican side, I think. But I don't appreciate that they're hiding those things, and I know that greed is definitely one of those things that contributes to that. Um, when what comes to mind for me on this is, the Astro car and some of the hovering platforms that were created in the 50s, and we didn't even get to learn about them until, some 70 years later, So how many things are they actually using that people are trying to patent for their own use and that we're not going to find out about for 70 years?
Boston Bia.
So I was looking it up, and they have over 6,500 active secrecy orders in place, and it's still active today. So yes, it allows the government to suppress the disclosure of patent applications, and that restricts exports and prevent technology from being commercialized. That's pretty interesting. That we
Right?
know who's in control, and they can hide it under a secrecy because they want the technology that somebody is thinking of. So that's pretty interesting. I never knew that existed. So thank you for bringing up a great topic, and it's definitely worth diving into a little bit more.
Now, if you
Thanks
could
for looking that up. Yeah, thanks for looking that up, because I think this could lead to some other convos. Thanks, Pia.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I have a follow-up to this one as well, but it's not my turn yet. So if you could introduce the person sitting in between Tim and Akashi Bia.
Sure. Ruthie Robles.
I always get the wrestler intro. Sorry, I got hiccups. So my thought is the government is gonna make you think whatever they want. And
Uh-oh. I think we're losing some of your audio. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, well, the government wants to let us think and hear a certain thing, which it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But I agree with Akashi, and
Yeah. I'll follow up with this one real quick. I knew this act because I worked in industry in between what I do now, like for Lockheed, and says the Export Control Act, which is covered under 22 U.S. Code Chapter 39. And that basically prevents foreign companies from selling arms defense contractors. That could be Lockheed, that could be Boeing, that could be Raytheon, that could be L3, that could be any of these contractors from selling to a foreign government. Because, so in other words, if somebody let's just say I don't think there's any countries with an F-35. I don't think that technology is out there. There are countries that have F-22s. Let's say we were to sell an F-22 to the Saudi Arabians. They are getting an F-22 in terms of engine, propulsion, navigation, but they're not necessarily going to have all the magic boxes of avionics that exist on that F-22. So it won't have the capabilities in terms of targeting, in terms of weaponry. I've explained this to you, Bia. You and I had this conversation once, that our F-22s have. So I guess everybody should know and understand that. Even though the Saudis at the time were flying around with F-15 Strike Eagles, they didn't have necessarily the exact same radar or the exact same targeting pod, etc., because they don't want other countries to have the exact same technology we have unless they build it. The Israelis have built some great technology, and they're not selling it outside of their country as well. They have some avionics that their companies in Israel have engineered. So anyway, this follows that same premise. That if an inventor were to come out with a technology and file for a patent like Salvatore Pais did for the Navy, that may get locked down and not released any further than us seeing those drawings, which basically are nothing. They're just basic drawings that they're submitting to the U.S. Patent Office. So yeah, that totally makes sense to me. Who's next? I believe it is Dr. Tim Mounts.
Well, I think that's a great conspiracy because it really ties into what we generally think of as conspiracies, this grand compartmentalization of knowledge and the separating of it and the keeping it out of the public's hands and all the different people that are involved in causing these things to happen. And I'm going to tell you something that is related, in my opinion, to what we're talking about here with these inventions, and that is the Atomic Security Act or Atomic Energy Act. This came about in 1946, if you're not familiar with it. And essentially, anything that falls under the Atomic Energy Act, you're not finding out anything about it.
Got it right.
I mean, never, ever. And nobody is. I mean, I'm not sure. I know DJ might know someone that has high enough clearance to find out something that's in that vault, but I don't know of anybody, and you're never going to find it out. Like anything that went under it in the 40s, basically, for the most part, it's still there. And I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody that I think everybody should look up if you're interested in this subject matter, and that is Richard Geldreich on Twitter. It's Geldreich. He makes fascinating posts, and he has really dug into this Atomic Energy Act. And here's a post of his. It says, Dr. Detlef Bronk, MJ-12 member, applied for an Atomic Energy Act security clearance on July 8th, 1947. If that date rings a bell, it is the same day as the Roswell capture announcement. This is in a declassified FBI memo. And if you really just get to paying attention, you will be shocked at what you'll learn about the people and how you can, and Richard tracks them based on their security clearances and applications with the Atomic Energy Act. So really fascinating stuff.
Go figure. I'm already following him, Tim.
There you go.
And the fact, what you mentioned, Detlef, I mean, in the time that MJ-12 happened, Detlef is obviously a German name. I think you know that from the NBA, Tim. Everybody here might not know that, but he could have been one of those scientists that came over as part of the Nazi captures. Those scientists. What was the other guy that came that headed up NASA and that whole Apollo program? What was his name? You know who I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah. I know.
He was a Nazi. So, yeah, there's several. I mean, there's more than just one.
Von Braun.
Yeah, Werner von Braun. Von Braun.
He did a lot of work.
Last card.
Huntsville.
The last card.
Bia, we're not going to get any more. Me, tough girl. So, there it's likely in the time that the first iteration of MJ-12 would have been in that after World War II timeframe. Am I correct, Debs? Is that correct?
Yes, I agree. There's a possibility that that's about when it happened, because if you look in the Army's FOIA on UAPs, that's when they start looking for the flying wing, and they go to Germany, and they have a lot of investigations about what was seen over the United States. It's very interesting, and so I think that's about the time things would have heated up.
Good stuff. We got a lot. We got a lot of great, smart people on this panel right here. That's really helping to inform the audience and a lot of great perspectives. So I'm really, really enjoying this. Tim, what is? I think it's time for your conspiracy. In the meantime, I'm going to try to bring up that Crush interview because I think we would all just have a blast with that.
Okay, and I just want to do a quick add-on there to what Deb was saying.
Please.
I had mentioned how, to me, some of the greatest things in the UFO files so far have been the historical reports, and we were doing a shocking amount of studies into green fireballs in the 40s and 50s, particularly green fireballs that were appearing over our sensitive military sites. So this goes back to this whole thing that, these orbs and stuff like this is not a new phenomenon, this interaction with our sensitive military sites. And they were very concerned about it and were bringing in outside scientists to study that phenomenon back then. And for the most part, they said, hey, this is not something we know exactly what is going on here.
The only reason I'm hesitant to talk about the green blobs is because that could make Akashi think of diarrhea, and then we'll go back to our conversation we had Thursday with BL.
Not again. Different show, DJ. Different show. Tim,
No
we'll
duty.
talk about that later.
Okay.
It was a good one, though.
Akashi, this is your turn. All right.
So I actually made a PowerPoint
Okay.
for my little thing here. Yeah. And I'll see if I can run down it. So I'm fascinated with Mount St. Helens, and we all kind of know about the tragic situation that unfolded there in 1980. But did you know that a lot of people believe that something was hidden after the Mount St. Helens eruption? And this is a Bigfoot cover-up conspiracy involving the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. And of course, 8:32 a.m. on May 18th, 1980, the north face of Mount St. Helens collapsed and the mountain exploded sideways. The official death toll was 57 lives. There's some great documentaries here, including one scientist that was studying it. He seemed like he was at a very safe distance, but of course, when it erupted, he was not able to escape. But he captured some of the most iconic footage, unfortunately, in his death that we have of the incident. But there's also a persistent legend involving the Mount St. Helens eruption, and that is it didn't just kill people and wildlife as we know it, but it also killed something else, and that evidence was hurried away by the military.
Mm-hmm.
And here's basically how this legend was built. So it kind of has three parts here. So we have the pre-existing legends of Bigfoot, Sasquatches in the area before the Mount St. Helens eruption. And then we have the eruption itself, and then we have the cover-up. And this legend, well before the Mount St. Helens eruption ever happened.
Sorry.
Oh, no worry.
I was trying to put that big on screen, and then I was trying to make it as big as possible, and I screwed it up. There we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no worry. Well before the Mount St. Helens ever erupted, there were reports of something large and hairy and just out there in the woods. And this goes back to actually native people, and they called it the Skookum. So even back to ancient times in the area, the Pacific Northwest tribe, they had legends of the Skookum, and this was Chinook jargon for strong or powerful or something big and hairy wild man of the forest of the area, the Skookum. And then some of you may have heard of the Battle of Ape Canyon, and this occurred in the summer, and that was in this area. This occurred in the summer of 1924. 5 gold prospectors working on a claim on the mountain's northeast flank reported a night-long deluge of boulders and rocks down upon them by something mysterious. They weren't quite sure exactly what was going on there. One creature allegedly reached through a gap to seize an axe, and the men answered and shot their rifles at them. And the Oregonian, the local paper, even ran the tale, and the gorge earned its name since then, Ape Canyon. And actually, I love Josh Gates and Expedition Unknown. Josh Gates with Expedition Unknown has actually uncovered what they believe was the site that this Ape Canyon incident actually took place at. So they did uncover like archaeological evidence of the cabin and the campsite and that sort of thing on kind of like the cliff face there, where they're in Ape Canyon. And then later we had this account from a prospector, I believe. What year did this take place? This was
Wasn't that in the 30s or 20s? Ape Canyon. Oh,
Ape Canyon was in 20s. This was
20s.
in apparently in the 60s though. There was
Wow.
another party out there, and they described creatures over 7 foot tall, covered in long black hair, walking upright. And there was actually a book written by Fred Beck, called "I Fought the Ape Men of Mount St. Helens," and the story became a cornerstone of Pacific Northwest lore. And then, of course, we know one day the mountain exploded. But the thing is, if you grew up believing that there were Bigfoots out there, then you had to believe that they would have been wrapped up in this incident as well. And March 1980, there were some earthquakes that preceded this. And then on May 18th, a magnitude 5+ quake dropped the entire north face. Largest landslide in recorded history. And the sudden pressure release let superheated gas and rock explode laterally towards Spirit Lake. An eruption column climbed 80,000 feet high. And on my next slide here, this is some mind-blowing statistics here. The speed of the blast was 670 miles per hour. It flattened 230 square miles. I already said 57 lives were lost, but the energy here involved, think about this, was equivalent to 1,600 Hiroshima bombs, which is just, pretty mind-blowing. And then the cover-up came in because they did send in the National Guard to recover the bodies that were on the side of the mountain. And surface began, and they were blocking off some of these areas. And so it didn't take long for accounts to start surfacing that the cleanup crews were collecting dead Sasquatch among the animal carcasses, and that the eruption's recovery, which included a heavy military presence, this was actually the perfect breeding ground for such stories, for the conspiracy theories involving the Bigfoot. And believers note the local Bigfoot were said to live exactly where the blast struck the hardest. But of course, if that's true, where did the bodies go? Well, one man identified as Bradshaw, and his story was recorded in a book written by Linda Cole Suchy called "Who's Watching You," said he was posted over a covered heap of carcasses under armed guard, and when the tarps were lifted, he claimed to see Sasquatch bodies under there. And then there were other accounts from witnesses that claimed to see a Chinook helicopter flying at 100, 150 feet with a cargo net slung underneath, with 3 hairy, ash-coated bodies with long gray limbs. Of course, there's been no official recognition of such an event happening. And what exactly did they hide? And let me go back one slide, actually, to talk about the keepers of the legend. But these are some names involved here. Fred Beck, he was the prospector who survived the 1924 incident and wrote a book on it in 1967. Mark Micel, researcher who probed Ape Canyon site for its 2024 centennial. Linda Suchy, who wrote that book I mentioned, Who's Watching You. And there's been a lot of modern media and podcasts that's talked about the incident. And, all these accounts keep coming together about these bodies that vanished. And so this mystery has persisted, that the Mount St. Helens eruption not only claimed human and animal lives, but our dear friend, the Bigfoot, as well. And I was lucky enough to get to hike near Mount St. Helens 3 years ago. So 2023, that's me out there hiking near Mount St. Helens. And I strongly encourage anyone, if you get a chance, to head out that way and check it out. And that is the Bigfoot conspiracy theory of Mount St. Helens.
Can somebody give me an amen? I love that, man. That was excellent. I have heard that one. At least part of it is very, very well founded. We've mentioned this on the show several times. Battle Mountain in Nevada, that fire, Mount St. Helens, that government entities came and picked up Bigfoot that were burnt, singed, injured. Some alive, some not alive. Apalachicola, when they had a fire there in Florida. So yeah, it's that information is quite well founded, and that was a beautiful presentation. Thank you for putting that together.
Oh, thanks.
Let's go around the horn. Debs, what do you think about that? About the revelations and that presentation by Dr. Mounts and Bigfoot and etc.
Okay, so weird synchronicity here. My roommate literally just made me watch the eruption of Mount St. Helens.
For free?
Oh,
Like,
sorry. Yeah.
yes,
can't make that up.
yeah. How weird is that? So,
Mhm.
you know, my thing is that yes, it's very possible for sure that happens, but the bigger issue is it's probably happening at all the national parks, and it's probably not just exclusively for that. I think that we have gotten the impression from rangers that they're aware that Bigfoot is there. So I think, yeah, it is a good question. Where are they taking Bigfoot when they recover Bigfoot, and what are they doing? Like, why are they not being open about that? It's a great question, but I unfortunately have no further answers as to what would have happened and why. It is, to me, a conundrum because, you know, for instance, if we had wild gorillas in a park, they would tell us that.
Mhm.
Have other very dangerous
Mhm.
like bison. You know, we saw what
Mhm.
happened recently with the bison, right? So
Yeah.
Consider. Yep.
Oh man. Ah.
so why are we not being told about this? So yeah.
Debs, if I had to ask you yes or no, do you think we have that our government has a Bigfoot in captivity?
I'm sad to say that I think they have a lot of things in captivity. I get a strong impression, and um, yeah, I don't know why. I just think that they do. And I watched Disclosure Day for the first time yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned freeing an entity in that movie, and I will not lie, I did get emotional during that part. So I think that there's a reason that I have that lingering sense that we have things that are captured that should not be.
Agreed. Boston Bia.
Well, I think the common denominator here, I think, is the national forests and all the secrecy around it. I think Deb made a good point. If it was, a bison, if it was anything else, any other, they would tell us about it. But yes, I do think they have one in captivity, of course. They have a lot of things in captivity that they've studied. And with all this disclosure, I wonder if they will ever let us know anything about Bigfoot.
Good. That's a great question. I think there's no pressure for them to do so, and pressure creates change. And because there's so much pressure from Congress, from former government individuals like Lou Elizondo and David Grush and Christopher Mellon and Jim Semivan and Tom DeLonge, the guitar player, and all his contacts and others. There's others other than those guys. But with that, that pressure does not exist in the Bigfoot universe, and that's the problem. I'll address that when we get to me. But Akashi, your thoughts on what Dr. Tim's presentation?
Yeah, I mean, the whole connection, you got volcanoes, you've got Bigfoot, you've got, usually when you have that, you have UAP in the middle. So, all of these things are connected. But, we talk about, I love, one of the things that I had as conspiracy was, in my list was the Smithsonian. We talk, when we talk about Bigfoot, I can't help but think of all those old newspaper clippings, the giants and the elongated skull. And those also included these, was it Bigfoot or was it giant? Probably a cousin of the two, but it, those were all out there. Yet, we're supposed to believe that all those old newspaper clippings, they were on the newspapers. That was printed media at the time. There was no AI. There was no photoshopping. There was no technology, and this is where I'm like, where did they wind up? They're probably at the Smithsonian. Not the living, but that a lot of stuff landed over there. You got the tunnels. You've got, you got so many secrets in a place where it's supposed to control the narrative of accepted history. That's what I'm thinking. It's like it's all about history. We can't, if you let Bigfoot out, open the kimono of Bigfoot, you got to open the kimono of a lot of stuff. And I know open kimono is probably a wrong phrase to use. Very politically incorrect. But hell, I went to die. Might as well go to open kimono. So thank you so much, Tim. That was your presentation. I'm glad I didn't follow you.
Let's go.
I was honestly worried that you were going to do it before I got the chance to. So
go for it, Ruthie Robles.
I'm sorry, I lost signal, but I'm back.
You're back.
So, so with this Bigfoot conspiracy, so the place I'm from is called Schenectady. It was the Native American Mohawk territory, and Bigfoot was always known in where I was, this territory. So, when it comes to Bigfoot, every time anybody talks about Bigfoot or says something about Bigfoot, what comes to mind is it's been here for thousands of years. The Bigfoot conspiracy, the Bigfoot warning, or whatever you want to call it, the Native Americans already knew about Bigfoot. And in my humble opinion, okay, the reason why we don't see Bigfoot is because, in my humble opinion, it has the capability of becoming invisible, kind of like the Predator. And we can't see what's going on, but it sees us. It sees what we're doing, and it's scared of us because in my opinion, if the Bigfoot opens up and shows who they are, they're going to take them and they're going to do scientific experiences on them, and they know better. They learn. Just like I'm going to go on a whole different route. Mermaids and all these other things, which are quote unquote not real. Trust me that there's Bigfoots in a facility somewhere, and they're being tested upon because they are real. Again, it's been here for thousands of years. Native Americans used to speak about the Bigfoots and tell people to beware about the Bigfoots. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah, and to add on to what Ruthie Robles says is you're going to hear this theme over and over on CAB. And it's not because I like repeating myself, but because it's applicable to a lot of things that we talk about when we talk about the phenomenon. And we've even used this to contextualize true crime and why people act certain ways that we've seen when we were covering Karen Read and certain norms that exist within people and how they've reacted to that case. So true crime does have elements of this as we do in the phenomenon, but humans like to be able to place something into something they know. You'll tell someone a story and they'll say, oh yeah, I have a cousin who did something, like I could say, oh, talking to someone about MotoGP, and they'll say, oh, I have a cousin who races dirt bikes. So they always want to take something and put it in a box where they can understand it, where they can feel comfortable with it. What I suspect, and now why I don't just suspect things out of thin air, or I'll tell you I'm taking a guess out of thin air without knowing anything. In this case, both Tim, myself, Bia and even Akashi and Debs have also interviewed a lot of Bigfoot experiencers at this point. And what they tell you is that when they're looking at it and they're having a Class A daytime close-up sighting, they're saying, I feel like I'm looking at a human. This is when, where Tim comes from. If they train their rifle on something that they can eat or sometimes that they can just kill, they will shoot it. And for them not to shoot it is a departure from the norm. So if it were a bear and someone had a big enough rifle that they thought they could take down that bear, Tim, and it was legal, they would take it down, right? They're either going to eat it, which they do in the Caucasus, and I've been in Romania, they eat bear, or they'll mount it. But if they train their rifle on something that they think they can take down, they're going to take it down. If they're a hunter for one reason or another, either to eat it or because it's unique and they want to mount it. Okay. So when they don't train their rifle on Bigfoot, or when they train it and then they lower their rifles because they're saying that looks like a human. That to me looks like some sort of a different tribe of people, which is getting after what Ruthie talked about. So if you're the government and you capture one of these things, and that may have happened decades before anyone on this screen was alive, for all we know. We can only guess as to how many they've captured, how many have been or are in captivity, if any, anyone's guess. If that's the case, and they say I'm looking at a human, well, how are humans going to react to another type of human roaming around the woods with that Survivor Man Lestrade said, I am not 1/100th the woodsman that any Bigfoot is. Any adult male or female Bigfoot. So how do we expect the government, Tim, to put that in a box if that is some sort of a human being?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I gave a recommendation in the chat. One of the most fascinating guests that I've had on All Things Unexplained is a man by the name of Kawani Lapsaritis. He's in the middle of nowhere in Washington State. I could only communicate with him through his satellite phone, which he occasionally turned on. And when he did turn it on, it still didn't get good service. I don't know how he got enough bars to actually be on the podcast one night. But he is the author of a book. Yeah, there we go. He's the author of a book called The Psychic Interdimensional Bigfoot. And I think the title of the book says it all in terms of his experiences with the Bigfoot. And that's an extension of what Ruthie was talking about. And that may very well explain exactly why that sort of knowledge should not be publicly available. And that's what Akashi was talking about too. Bigfoots and UFOs are highly correlated with each other in the same time frame of encounters. I don't think anybody could say they know for sure why, but it is a fact. It's a mathematical fact, and there's something to that.
But here's the thing, Tim. I'm trying to confine the question. I don't want to explore the totality of what Bigfoot is in this discussion, because that is a great discussion. It's a discussion that we will continue to have on CAB. For the purposes of this discussion, I'm trying to drill down to and just draw this in the frame to, if it's partly human, looks, acts human in some way, is that enough in your mind for the government to want to be coy and perhaps not even discuss, admit, or talk about this creature because they know that they're there and they know that they're human, some sort of offshoot of human? Is that enough in your mind? Okay.
Absolutely, because what have we been led to believe about aliens? We've been led to believe that they are bipedal humanoids, very similar looking to us, potentially even very advanced versions of us from the far-flung future. or advanced versions of us that escaped the Earth at some point. And so if our thoughts, if our notions about these different species of extraterrestrials are correct, and we definitely believe that knowledge is being kept from us, and we know that Bigfoots are highly correlated with UFO sightings, then certainly the same logic, I think, would apply to the cover-up of the Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense to me. I don't know what this thing is. It kind of looks human. I don't know what we have to give it, what we owe it. Do we have to bring it into Congress and have them testify? I mean, what do you do with it? I mean,
and I think,
go ahead.
DJ, I think that's the issue too, is that you're giving it a label of a human, but now you're going to have to give it the rights of a human. Insurance. Are they, I'm sure any opportunity to make somebody else pay taxes, we would jump on that. Now we have to take care of it. So, or how are they going to contribute to society like the rest of us? So I think there's an issue with giving it a label of a human, because now where is the expectation? What do we need from them, and what are we willing to give them?
Yeah,
I mean, just look at Alf. Does anybody remember Alf?
Oh my God. Alf was awesome.
Tell me that wasn't a little Bigfoot from Melmac.
Yeah, exactly. I love Alf. Oh my God, that is great. Yeah, put him to work. I mean, Bia, you could have him on one of your new team members at work. Just to be able to, make calls with other Bigfoot. But no, that question could come out. Do you need to provide veterinary service to go out and meet them in the wild? Because we've heard, I think there's a few of us on this panel that have heard of injured Bigfoot, elderly Bigfoot. We've heard of all these things, which gets to why James Bobo Fay from what's the name of that show? Finding Bigfoot. Why James Fay believes that they definitely bury their dead. The evidence would suggest that is the case. If they're that smart, okay, if you have the bonobos that are hanging from a limb in Africa and fashioning a fishing rod with a twig and bugs on it, then why would we not believe that these guys can figure out how to use a tool to dig with? I mean, that just makes sense to me. Let's watch a little bit of this interview, shall we? And then react. Because I think it still blows my mind. We talked about it back when it came out, and nothing has changed about that. All right, let's see. Here we are. Ross Cotat.
Speculation, conspiracy theory, and science fiction.
Tell me if you can hear okay, everybody.
Serious people have started taking the subject seriously.
You'll see it come through the top of the screen. There it goes.
Prompted in part by the release of these videos, purporting to show encounters between American naval aviators and what the Pentagon has labeled unidentified aerial or anomalous phenomena. Congress has convened hearings to determine what these UAP are and what threat they might pose.
If UAP do indeed...
I'm going to fast forward because I don't care what any of these people say. I want to get to Dave Grush.
Of that official
this is one of my favorite UFO videos of all time. Flying pyramids.
But now, for the first time, a former member... Meet that man for the very... Welcome. Have a seat. Maybe start off telling me your name and who you are.
My name is David Grush. I came from a blue-collar family in Pittsburgh. I didn't have the money for college. Always admired people in uniform. And I've always wanted to be a part of something bigger than myself. 18 years ago, I got an Air Force scholarship for physics. I originally commissioned on active duty in the Air Force. Served 14 years in the Air Force.
I look at this photograph, Dave, and I see a very proud officer.
I was getting promoted to captain when I was deployed.
And you still love your country, don't you?
Absolutely.
A career intelligence officer, Grush spent time on the ground in Afghanistan and other places he can't mention before rotating back to Washington.
I was an intel officer for the U.S. for 14 years. My last position, which I left in April of 2023, I co-led the UAP portfolio for the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, and some of the highest officials within the Department of Defense and Intelligence community used to call on me to advise them on some of the hardest target sets that the country had.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the US defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
And he says the most earth-shattering of those secrets were revealed
That's
after
Denver.
2019, when he was invited to join the UAP task force. You had the security classifications to go anywhere and ask anyone anything.
I had, based on my formal security clearance and multiple polygraphs, I had the ability to be read into any program that I needed. At one point in time, I was extremely highly cleared.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
You are alleging that the US government has been concealing the existence on this planet of alien life.
I would couch it as non-human intelligence, NHI, like we would like to say in our language.
Why do you say that? Why do you say NHI?
I don't want to necessarily denote origin. I don't think we have all the data to say, oh, they're coming from a certain location.
Okay, so we said earlier that we don't know. We don't know everything. That's what I'm talking about. We don't know everything. Everybody, tell me, is the audio okay? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I couch it as somebody who studied physics, where maybe they're coming from a different physical dimension, as described in quantum mechanics. We know there's extra dimensions due to high energy particle collisions, etc. And there's a theoretical framework to explain that. Yeah.
Just let me cut to the quick though. You're saying there is an intelligent species engaging with this planet.
Yes, that's potentially extraterrestrial. Yeah.
I speak for everybody sitting at home. That is a shock.
It was to me, and I had a lot of sleepless nights.
Grush says he's never personally seen non-human intelligence, but he's spoken to enough people directly involved in what he calls the program that he's convinced it's real.
I started out as a non-believer. I came to the problem as a hardcore physics guy, intel officer. So I have a, excuse my language, high factor. I was very methodical, interviewing people who didn't know each other, making sure this wasn't some kind of cover-up of some other program.
He says he pressed to gain direct access to this program, and that's when his trouble started. Grush claims his investigation was stymied, his requests for access rebuffed.
They shut the door in my face. They denied me access to these programs.
Soon after, he says he endured reprisals and retaliation from above. He then reported that information to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. That's why he's filed this whistleblower complaint. He says that experience is why he decided to go public here and in a recent article written by Leslie Kane in The Debrief. You're not being paid for this interview?
No, I'm not.
Why are you doing this?
It's a sense of service, call me a Boy Scout or whatever. It just, when I saw the kind of wrongdoing I did, I don't want to be 60, 70 years old in the future and have that, coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of feeling where I could have made a difference. I did not want to live a life of regret.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone. Yeah.
Empirically.
You've said that we have, the United States has spacecraft, intact craft.
We do.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
Have you seen spacecraft?
I've seen some interesting photos and I've read some very interesting reports.
But he says the specific documents and photos that would prove his claims are still classified, and he cannot disclose them here. Let's deal with the issue of your credibility.
Mhm.
Why should we believe you? You're just somebody coming out of nowhere, making claims that we really ultimately can't prove.
Yeah. Well, we provided the proof internally to the Inspector General and the Hill staff, and we went into all the details. I mean, I have the credentials. I was an intelligence officer on the UAP task force.
But let's face it, allegations of aliens and their spacecraft are hard to accept, even.
I think that's pretty good for in terms of discussion points. So let's go from there. Team, let's start with Debs.
Okay, so I just want to say I think it's incorrect to say he was the first high-ranking official. It's actually been many high-ranking officials at this point, and prior to him as well. Obviously, we have presidents talking about it now, but it's a little frustrating for Ross to say something like that. I feel like sometimes people need to do a little bit of research. Like he could have asked Grush about those previous testimonials, maybe, and that would have been beneficial. But yes, of course, it's very helpful to have him come forward and bravely tell everyone what he knows. I can't disagree with his assessment. He is also being very careful with his wording and saying that he's not sure where they're from, and I appreciate that.
Because he's probably not sure where they're, and probably nobody is potentially. Boston Bia, how did that interview strike you? What are your thoughts coming out of that?
I definitely think the fact that he looks credible. The way he speaks, you can totally feel that he's trying to be as truthful and give as much information. The fact that he's saying he doesn't want to live with regret, that he didn't put it out there, the fact that he was willing to risk it all. And when he started asking even though he was put on this task force, when he started asking some tough questions, that's when they started shutting him out. And I don't think he would risk his career to just come out and, just say all these things. And now fast forward where our current administration is admitting to having these things. So obviously I think this is good for him, because I think we can see that what he has been saying, we validated some of that information, like the trust.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah. And now here we are 3 years later, and our administration is confirming this information. So I give him lots of props for coming out and speaking his truth. So
just real briefly, how did it make you feel, what he said?
It definitely resonated. That's what I mean. Like, you can tell how his credibility.
No, I mean, how did it make you feel?
Like, do I believe him or not? Or like,
how do you feel? Like, like for me, the way I would answer that question, it kind of gives me this shock, this kind of wow, listening to him talk and reveal the things that he's revealed, knowing what he knows. So that's kind of how I feel. I always ask people, how did that make you feel? So that I'll ask the others that question as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely made me feel like we're not in any imminent danger, but the fact that it made me feel like it's incredible what we don't know. And obviously, like you're talking about your box, like we need to think outside the box because we have to be open to what we don't know, or we should be anyway, because we still have a lot to learn, and we still, and that's part of growth. So I'm all for it.
For Dr. Tim, let's go with this one real quick.
I mean, how much of this stuff, the mystical stuff, do you attribute to just
Hey,
things that
DJ,
we
why don't
just
you share
don't
screen?
really understand
'cause
yet
it's audio.
scientifically?
100%.
I was going to say, do you think there's anything out there? I mean, it's such a hard concept to even grasp, but the idea that there are things that defy all explanations, even beyond our own comprehensions or whatever, there's actually something truly mystical out there, or is it just stuff that we don't have the right sensory organs or we don't have the right tools of measurement to understand it at this point?
Both. It's 100% both. And you're going to get that answer to a lot of questions tonight. It's 100% both. We don't understand anything. See, this is the thing. At the core of it, we don't understand anything. Now, we know how some things work, but do we understand it? Understanding and being able... I don't know how a combustion engine works, but I can drive a car.
Yeah.
I could not build a computer. I don't really know how a computer works, but I use them all the time. So it's kind of like that. Our very physical sciences, our Newtonian physics, clearly is just missing a piece of the equation. Mm-hmm. There's something that it just has not factored in yet, which I suspect is consciousness, that's underpinning the whole thing. So is there something out there? Clearly there is. Do we have any inkling what it is, or have we ever? Probably not. Can we even know? I don't know. I mean, we're limited by primate brains. And even though we have a very advanced and highly evolved primate brain, that is a physical construct within a physical seeming setting. And so there are going to be things that we may never be able to grasp as long as we are in that physical construct.
I think we're having some technically difficulties.
Are we?
No, we're good.
Okay. That was not me speaking. That was somebody more intelligent than I.
Jules is asking who it was.
That was Steve.
Yeah.
Okay, so Steve did not identify himself. He was on with our friend Matt Knapp of Bigfoot Crossroads. Tim knows him. Bia knows him. Akashi knows him. And Deb knows him. Man, Matt is a great interviewer. I've said that a gazillion times. I'll probably say it a gazillion more times. And Steve was brilliant. This is a Hall of Fame level discussion that they had. Parts of that discussion will remain in my library probably forever. Let's go with Akashi. David Grush. And then I'm going to get Tim to react to both because you reacted to this last week. But David Grush, how did that make you feel?
Number one, how it made me feel disappointed. Disappointed that he had to go through what he had to go through just to speak up. The fact that, not included there was all the beatings that he had to take, on his personal life. And I mean, we saw it all play out on X, and it was just horrifying. It was just terrible. So I'm disappointed in our leadership that put him there to begin with to have to do that. But what did resonate big time with me that really kind of went with the discussion we were having is the whole multidimensional or interdimensional, because we were talking about Bigfoot, and that's definitely how I think about Bigfoot. It's like somehow the ability, and I don't know if it has the ability, it just happens to come and go. It goes with the flow. Maybe he doesn't mean to come in and out, but also his stressing NHI. That it's not necessarily about location. That always makes me think USOs and underwater. He is telling us what's going on without really saying it, in my opinion. So he's leaving us a lot of breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
Good guy.
I mean, 3 years
Total
ago.
respect for the man. Total respect for the man.
Me too, as they say in Portuguese. Respect, amigo.
Respeto.
Go ahead, Ruthie. Uh-oh.
Okay,
Mhm.
so with anybody that tries to come out to tell us the truth, either we take it or we don't, right? Some people will say this person is crazy, this person is a fake. There's been a lot of people like Luis Sander. I think I'm saying his name wrong.
Luis Elizondo.
Yes. So there's all of them. They come out and tell us what they've seen, what they experienced, and most people don't believe it until it freaking happens. And with what's his name, Shaw, the most recent.
Who's Shaw?
Yes.
Who is that? Who are you talking about?
The one that just came out. Oh my God. When they did the UFO thing with the Supreme Court, I think it was the youngest guy. You were just talking about him. We're just talking about him. So even he tells us what's going on, and people don't want to believe. He's seen all these things, and there's people that told him certain things that we cannot know, and it's in our faces. Just like when it comes to like the Bigfoot stuff, it's in our faces. If we don't want to believe it, we don't want to believe it, but people are telling us and letting us know.
Yeah, I mean, 10,000 people that have made these reports or so can't be lying.
Nope.
Even only one of them has to be right, and the 1967 film still stands as unrefuted. And they played some video at the Austin Film Festival. Oh, this is going to come out. It's going to debunk the Patterson-Gimlin film. How many months ago was that, Bia? We haven't. We're still waiting. We can do like the Hulk Hogan here. Still waiting. Haven't seen anything. Cannot debunk that film. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. That is a creature walking across a fucking sandbar in 1967.
And it's been here for thousands of years. People have been talking about it for thousands of years.
Definitely, but I'm just talking about that film. It was shot on 16 millimeter film 59 years ago. Well, October will be 59 years ago. You couldn't have faked it. I'm sorry, kids. You could not have faked that. A guy in a suit is not going to look like that.
And the way she looks up at the camera, the fact that it sensed that it was being watched. I mean, that.
Benny, I'll send it to you. It's the Patterson-Gimlin film. If you want to look on YouTube, there's a 4K version of it. Dr. Tim, your thoughts, and you come off mute now because you're about to talk. Your thoughts on what David Grush had to say. How did that make you feel?
Grush.
What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I got to show off one of my prized possessions here real quick.
There it is.
There it is. Woo! Let me
put it in big screen, DJ.
Yeah, I'm going to. Give me a sec there. There we go. Let's go to Dr. Tim and get
that's beautiful.
Where the hell?
Yes.
There's DJ.
This pisses me off.
What's happening? Who's our cameraman? Get that intern.
He wanted the spotlight. He's no.
Yeah, that's what I need. All right.
So here's my patty. This is signed, as you see down here, by Bob Gimlin.
Wow.
Oh, wow, Tim. That's
Bob is
awesome.
Roger died a long time ago. But Bob, I heard, is not doing well, but he's still out there. You can see the mammary glands even in this photograph right here. You can see
Yep.
that it's a girl.
It's a girl.
And I'm
That's the
sorry,
mommy.
nobody. And look how
Mhm.
long her arms are. Nobody is going to make a monster suit that's a girl, and especially in 1967, that wasn't going to happen, right, Hera? Sorry, guys. Oh, there she is.
I can't disagree with that, but I will say that, you know what, no matter what the truth of the Patterson Gimlin film is, it doesn't take away from the reality of Bigfoot itself. So I do caution people in being, connecting them too much. But it happens sometimes in ufology, right? Like that there are fake things out there in ufology, and sometimes if people put too much stock into any one thing, they end up getting disappointed, and it kind of ruins the whole topic for them. And I think ufology has been around for the entire existence of humanity, just like Bigfoot. And so the Patty is complicated. Maybe we can talk more about Patty one night. But on to what DJ was asking, I want to follow up with Akashi real quick. She brought up USOs, unidentified submerged objects. I had the pleasure of speaking with Kevin Knuth, and he was addressing the Arrow report, and he said that, his work with UAPX, their findings were presented to Arrow. He made a point of saying that because essentially Arrow lied in their first historical report when they said that Arrow had not received any scientific academic briefings, but that was a lie. UAPX had briefed Arrow, and he said they had briefed every three-letter agency, and the one question that they all asked UAPX was, what are your capabilities of detecting UAPs underwater? That's the one thing they all asked them. Now,
Interesting.
yes, very, very interesting. That interview that DJ played, the guy brought up consciousness. I had the pleasure of speaking recently with Italian astrophysicist Massimo Teodorani, and I asked him, what do you think the next breakthrough could be? And by the way, Massimo, he's an expert in the Hessdalen lights. If you're not familiar with those, Google those. But he actually, and I had been wondering this because I'm right down the road from Western North Carolina, where we have something called the Brown Mountain Lights. And Massimo was familiar with the Brown Mountain Lights, and he does believe that the phenomenon that is the Hessdalen lights could be associated with the Brown Mountain Lights, like they could be the same type of phenomenon. But Massimo said that people might think he's crazy, but he thinks the next breakthrough could be the potential discovery that consciousness is a fundamental force of the universe, no different than gravity. And I was just like, whoa, that's heavy. That's heavy right there. Now, that's also really hard to process because it does put humans in sort of a central role in the universe, if you think about it.
Tim, let me ask you a question on this topic on consciousness.
Yes.
Would you agree that if you died tomorrow, your consciousness your body would just be the shell, and your consciousness would move on to a different plane of existence? Would you agree with that, or you think your consciousness dies when you die?
Well, I mean, I think that's a definition situation too, because we have this term called soul.
Soul, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Let's just
but are you calling it the same thing? Is soul and what about the rest of the panel? Y'all better help me out here, right? Because is soul and consciousness the same thing?
Well, let's call it for the sake of this discussion, because Donald Hoffman is not sitting here from University of Cal at Irvine. For this discussion, let's call it the same, that your soul that is some intertwined in your consciousness. Is that fair?
Well, I'll just stick with soul and say I do believe my soul will carry on. Yes,
okay.
After the death of my body. I'm not going to intertwine consciousness. I'm not prepared to do that at the moment.
How would you define the two of them, or what do you see as? And anybody on the panel, just chime in with this. Go ahead and jump in. How is your soul different than your consciousness?
Oh, I have something on this.
Please.
So, when you talk to people about their experiences with light beings or their experience with death experiences, they often talk about you're much broader when you have died. So consciousness is almost like a very narrow version of what we actually are. That's what we use to sustain ourselves when we're in the shell. But when we have died, it gets much bigger. Like we can handle a lot more. Our soul is much broader.
So our soul, you're saying, is broader than our consciousness.
Yes.
Okay. Akashi.
Yeah.
You can go all over the place on this one, but I'm thinking, I always thought of consciousness being more of the awareness of what's out there, like that, whether it's a very narrow awareness or an expanded consciousness. The situation, your soul to me is my essence. It what makes me me. It connects me to my higher self, so I start thinking about, a higher self and how it comes into play with, who I am inside at this moment. I am definitely one that says energy does not die, it just transfers. You know how I feel about reincarnation, and that whole, your ability to choose your adventure. So to me, it's just two different things,
Well, and what you just stated right there about energy not dying, that is actually part of Newtonian physics. Bia, what's the difference between your soul and your consciousness? In your mind?
I think that,
because we don't, let's face it, none of us here know, but
none of us know. Yeah. I feel like your soul and your consciousness goes hand in hand. If you think of when you've gone to a funeral, you can tell there's no soul, there's no consciousness, the life has been sucked out of this person. So I do think they go hand in hand. And, so I do think that it definitely leaves us and you're just left with a shell. But I do think it continues on in other ways. I don't think that's the end of us. I think we continue in some other form, some other way. But I do think they kind of go hand in hand. The soul, our consciousness, it's all related to us being alive. So
I'm with Bia on that. Let's go see what Ruthie Robles says.
Okay, so my take is your consciousness is you, right? Every thought that you ever had, every emotion, every heartbreak, every happiness. But when that's gone, you have your soul. And yes, it goes hand to hand, but your true sadness, your true happiness, your true story is your conscience. And once that's gone, there's nothing else but
the soul. Okay. I'm going to put Tim back in there. Tim, is it, so first of all, my answer is, I don't know. But if I'm going to expound upon this, is it possible that the consciousness is your ability to connect with other people's consciousness and or other intelligent beings in the universe and or something like Bigfoot and or ghosts or paranormal? Is it possible that that's your consciousness while what Akashi said earlier, your soul, what leaves you is kind of like your imprint on the universe, what you leave behind, your screen memory, if you will?
Well, yeah, definitely. And I do want to, before the night, I want to chime in on the David Grush thing.
Please.
But definitely, DJ, because, that's one of the enduring mysteries of humanity. And this goes back to what you were saying earlier, like how hunters, and by the way, this hunter-gatherer instinct of humanity has been around for quite a long time, not just in Mississippi, right? Not just rural Mississippi squirrel hunters, but for quite a long time. Not just my daddy serving up squirrel brains and scrambled eggs. It's been around for quite a while.
Yummy.
Saber-toothed tigers, Neanderthals. Anyway, but that's one of the enduring mysteries of humankind, and that is this notion that we seem to have a shared sense of good and right and morality that you can't really explain, and it seems to be mutually exclusive of religion, of ethnicity, of gender, age. We seem to have some sort of innate understanding of what is right, and that is a mystery. And this could fall into line with what you are describing as consciousness, and could be why we look through a scope on a gun and see a Bigfoot, and we recognize, hey, we don't need to harm this creature.
It's another human. Yeah, and I was kind of using Tim to say, because that there is a big hunting population, and that one of the archetypes among hunters is simply that if you want to take something down in the woods, and that's the phraseology they'll use, and you have your rifle has the power to take it down, and it's legal because there's certain seasons that you can take down certain animals. There's bow season. There's even there's a black powder season where it's very short, but the only thing you can hunt with is black powder rifles. And then, so what I'm getting at, if there were a brown bear or a grizzly, which don't exist in Mississippi, and a hunter were out there and he were hunting deer, but he ran into a bear and said, I have the firepower to take it down, they would probably take it down, because either, again, to eat or to mount. That's the way hunters think, because when you have a weapon, you are the apex predator in the woods. Well, hunters that have encountered Sasquatch have discovered that they don't feel like the apex predator in the woods, because now they start Mississippi squirrel revival.
Well, and let's keep this in mind too, because this may not be the most politically correct viewpoint of mankind, of males, of men and women. But then again, this is also a primordial instinct. Let's not forget this, and very well could be the reason we're all able to sit here and be chatting tonight, because if humans did not, for the vast majority of our existences, have this primordial instinct to hunt food and cook it and eat it, then we would probably be in trouble as a species, right? So this is a primordial instinct. Our human bodies also are uncannily good at telling ourselves, hey, we need to stay alive somehow. And our brain can do a lot of crazy things to us to make that happen.
We've become the dominant species on the planet. And when people in the woods encounter, because when you're in the woods as a hunter, it's different than being a hiker. When you're in the woods as a hiker, you're looking to just be part of nature and exist within nature and move through nature. When you're in there as a hunter, you're in there to take an animal, to harvest an animal with which to eat. And when you discover an animal that is more, you feel is more powerful, or if you took a shot at it, well, there might be one that comes up behind me and hits me in the head with a log. And believe me, there are Sasquatch that have thrown logs that have whizzed by people's head to land on the ground, and not once, but over and over. And that's when they want to chase people out of an area. So that's, go ahead, Tim.
I want to tell you something interesting real quick about this. I think it's fascinating, because this could be why we see humans acting the way they are today, because for the first time in human history, a very interesting phenomenon is happening, and that is we live our daily lives in perpetually satiated. We are never, our bodies are never truly in need of food. We always have an immediate source of snacks, of food in the pantry, and this is the vast majority of the population. mind you, I understand there's exceptions in the refrigerator, but our bodies are now, for the first time ever, perpetually satiated. Well, we have a lot of microorganisms in our gut biome, and they actually are the ones that tend to live on things like carbohydrates and fats. That's the majority of the American diet. And these microorganisms can literally control our emotions and our behaviors to put more of the food that they survive on into our bodies. So that may actually be the reason we act the way we do as a society.
Yeah, it's just they worry about whether or not they're going to become conscious because they could destroy us from the inside. That's true. No, a show for our next conspiracy show.
The Blob.
I know.
The Blob. It's going to bust out of the theater.
Good one.
Attack the whole town.
Oh,
And
boy.
Dr. Mounts, like, have you, like, think of it this way. Sometimes you've been running around crazy, super busy, and you're like, oh, I haven't eaten today. And all of a sudden now you're more hungrier than you were. And if you had, because I think our consciousness is like, you thought you had the thought and now you're hungry. And it's telling your body, oh, you need to eat. But otherwise you would have kept going. And it's like, yeah, so.
There was almost some Brooklyn in there. There was almost like, hey, or the Bronx. Hey, Dr. Mounts. Hey, doctor.
Hey.
Hey.
Oye.
Oye, Dr. Mounts. Oh, man. August 1st, Calling All Beings episode, just Ask Nathan. This was made by someone that you guys may or may not have heard of named Akashi Chris. Made this artwork. And Dr. Mounts, you'll be invited back. What we're going to do is let people pop on for a couple of minutes and ask Nathan a question. We're going to have some special guests. So if you want to be one of those, we will send you an invite. You remember Nathan, I'm sure, because the first roundtable we did with these guys was Calling All Beings and All Things Unexplained. And Smitty's like, is this like a gang fight? Is this like the Outsiders or some shit? It was pretty funny.
Like Anchorman when they all went to the fight. You see, kill the guy with a trident.
50% of the time it works every time.
Well, Yogi Berra's famous quote, he said 50% of baseball is 75% mental. So anyway, it's been a great night, guys. This has been a hell of a lot of fun. We'll see you on August 1st for Ask Nathan. In the offing, we also have a Canadian roundtable with your co-host Sati and a bunch of other cool Canadians from the UFO and true crime space. Basically, everybody there loves UFOs. It just, depending on whether they're half true crime and half UFOs. We have a Latino roundtable that's coming up, hosted by Boston Bia, Akashi, Ruthie, and possibly one of my colleagues, Luz Castillo. So that should be fun, a Latino roundtable, and there's no telling what topics are going to come up there, but most interesting. Oh, you're on mute, so we can't hear you. Yeah.
Sorry, that's probably when the lettuce talk is coming, right? Are you saving it for that one,
Lettuce and
Akashi?
duty?
No. That's true. Wait, there we go. I will bring the lettuce story.
Okay.
The Tim Farm
muy
story
peligroso.
will be coming the next panel.
Lettuce and
Can I
duty.
invite people to my movie night, DJ?
No, please,
Can I-
let's go.
Yes.
Yeah,
So on Friday,
Put
I
it
have
up on
a special
screen.
event. I can't put anything up on your screen. I can't manage anything. I don't know.
You
Anyway,
can
I
put
just say
anything
it.
in the studio,
Can we
and
just
then I can put it up, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I can't think right now.
Okay.
But so anyway, on Friday night, I will be hosting a classic movie night. It is Movies from an Asylum. We'll be playing 1930s The Cocoa Nuts with the Marx Brothers, and we're going to have Boston Bia will be there. I think Ruthie will be there, and Kim, you're invited. Dubs, DJ, if you guys would like to be live, it's going to be games, intermission, fun, commercials, and we're going to be all black and white. It's a
Oh, I love that,
noir.
man.
We're going
That
to be
is-
all black and white.
You
So
do
thank
so
you.
much, man. Nobody does cooler stuff than Akashi Chris.
It's
Man.
gonna be really fun. I got some really fun games for intermissions. So
Yeah.
So
it'll be
that's
really
July 31st at what time? Make sure you gotta
I'm
tell us the
sorry.
time.
Thank you. 6 p.m. Central, Friday
Perfect.
night. Gonna be a party. So
Yeah.
everybody here invited for the live part.
I've been
Yeah,
watching
well-
Spider-Man Noir. I think I'm ready for this.
It's gonna be all noir, sis. See?
We will pump it out on Twitter as well.
Thank you.
Akashi puts so much work into her broadcast. When you talk about content creators, Bia and I have had some discussions about content creators that are really lazy and kind of just talk bad about people as they call that content. Akashi
Yeah.
puts so much work into her content with visual and audio things and spends a
Thank
week
you.
preparing for a show. So she's
Actually, 2. I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
For
I
movie
mean-
night, it takes.
But who's
No,
counting?
I want to be proud. I love that you guys are like that. That you guys are proud of what you put together. And so I love being part of this team. So.
I don't put anywhere near the work into it that you do. I'm just basically a talking head. So I admire that you do. And I know Tim does as well. Tim is similar to you, that he puts a lot of work into his stuff. He keeps that team going. He's the one who does all the work to get the guests and so forth. So
What do you have going on next, Timmy? Dr. Tim. Excuse me, Dr. Tim.
Tim Mouse. Sit
Well,
with the
no,
Latino
no.
accent there.
No, definitely call me Tim. Well, I am excited about some upcoming podcast I've got coming up. Let me and thanks for asking. Matter of fact, one I've got coming up, it is going to be with, let me make sure I say this right.
Ruthie Robles. No, I'm just kidding.
Legendary UFO researcher Kevin Randall. Some of you may know.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
He knows
Yes.
about some crash retrieval stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kevin, he has a new book coming out. So he's going to be coming on All Things Unexplained. That will be released the same day that his new book comes out, August 25th. And then I'm also very excited to speak to physicist Jenny Lorraine Nielsen. She is pretty active on X. She has a lot of interesting physics research, and she's had her own UFO encounter. She's got a lot of thoughts on the General Neil McCaslin case. And so looking forward to that. That should be quite interesting. And I continue to dig into these missing persons cases, Monica Riza, Neil McCaslin, Melissa Cassius. Unfortunately, they discovered her body. So, yeah, I continue that work as well.
I love it, man. I'm so glad that we have reconnected and we're starting to do shows together again. Bia and I spent the better part of 2 years working on the Karen Reed case, and now it's just in civil proceedings now and fighting back and forth. So we'll provide some coverage on that as we can, or as we think that we can add value to it. But I'm very happy to have reconnected with my UFO family and my Bigfoot family. And so you can expect more content like this, where we debate consciousness and the soul.
May I interrupt?
Ruthie Robles.
Okay, Mr. Doctor,
All right.
I've been holding back this whole time. Have you ever heard of Martin the water sommelier?
No, do tell.
Martin the water sommelier. I don't know why, but he reminds me of you.
We're going to have to look that up.
Look that up.
Martin.
Martin the water sommelier.
Okay. I'm going to look that up. Martin. the
You
Water
guys
Sommelier.
have the same vibe, beautiful skin. I love it.
Well, I have been moisturizing. So
Yes. Well, water.
Big screen. Look at his forehead. It's so smooth.
and I did just visit St. Augustine, Florida, literally the fountain of youth. Yes.
Yep, he
Wow.
talked about that too.
I nearly got ate by an alligator.
He
but
tells you-
I dove in there.
Martin, the water sommelier, tells you what water to drink, what's not good for you, hydration, and you are his brother.
Well, thanks.
and it's amazing and beautiful.
Well, thank you. I
Beautiful.
appreciate that. 64 ounces of water a day, followed by 10 ounces of Smoky Mountain Squat Shine, and
Ooh.
that's what that's what I.
You can
drink.
take the boy out of Mississippi, but you can't take the Mississippi out of the boy.
Lots of water and moonshine.
Shout out to my friend. Let's check him out. But drink responsibly. Smoky
Look
Mountain
at the
Squat Shine.
pores. No pores. no
Moonshine.
pores, because I'm
And
beautiful.
Martin,
Moonshine.
Martin is from Germany.
Germany,
so-
and you can. Here's
He's-
a insider
he's-
tip. You can also run your vehicle on this if you.
Ooh, hell yeah, brother.
Oh my
That's
God,
in
I
those
love it.
secret inventions. That's in the secret inventions file.
That's
Shut
one
up,
they covered
Timmy.
up.
You
That's-
don't tell them, Timmy.
Why do you think they had to bootleg this stuff?
You guys are so you guys are so hilarious. I love the way these shows have been ending. It's either Akashi's OnlyFans or now Tim with beautiful skin.
I don't have an OnlyFans account. It's a joke, people.
Wait a minute. Let me get that JPEG up on the
Note to
screen.
self.
I believe I
Look up my fork on
Akashi.
OnlyFans.
I believe I'm the Akashi Chris OnlyFans.
Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy.
All right, guys, we got to cut it off before somebody gets in trouble, and it's probably going to be
Yes.
me. Thank you, roundtable members, Boston Bia, Ruthie Robles, Dr. Tim Mounts,
Where I come from, somebody would cue some banjos right now.
Debs.
No.
I had a couple things I wanted to say real quick.
Yes, Debs.
Yes,
Okay.
Debs.
Will not
speak.
let us into the show. Go ahead.
First of all, we're synced again because I have a noir video coming out tomorrow on Dreams Generator AI. It's a Frank Sinatra.
Dude, we're entangled, you and I. We're
I know.
entangled. We're
I
all
know.
entangled in this group.
And then the real quick question I had, you can answer yes or no because we're wrapping up for Tim earlier, was do you think that they sensed the eruption ahead of time?
I don't know how to answer that.
I mean, you would have.
I'm
to
sorry.
think-
After Jules posted what she.
What is he?
the Dr. Tim's OnlyFan that could be in the offing.
He needs to know.
I mean, you would have to think that as in tune to the forest as they are. I mean, how could they not? You know what I mean? I mean, it makes sense that they would have sensed that something was about to happen, and it's probably very terrifying because it's the ecosystem that they live in. So it's pretty scary.
That's
And
a great
it's-
question.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? It could explain why maybe a lot of them did manage to escape, hopefully. And yeah, and the OnlyFans thing. You know what they say about people with big feet, don't you?
I'm not sure I want to know. Go ahead. What
Where
are
are
they
you
saying?
going with this? Where are you
Yeah.
going with this?
They wear big shoes.
Put up.
Man, I still can't. I got to save that Akashi Chris OnlyFans. I got to dig into the cab mod chat so I can keep
We're
that.
gonna do
JPEG.
one for you. Can I get an amen? All you hear it. He says, "Can I get an amen?" No, it makes sense. $1, $2. People are just paying for those amens. There's CJ.
You missed his talk about his feet. He actually went on and on one time about how beautiful his feet was. That was a whole topic.
Oh, there we go.
I was hoping you were going to forget that,
Toesies.
Bia. I was
I will
hoping.
not forget that. He literally went, it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Well,
Yes.
I said one thing,
Ooh, I
and
have
then you guys
ideas.
made it into a whole thing.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes, I have ideas.
Podiatrist
May-
and proctologist. Always hang out with those two people. At a time.
May I ask one last
Yes.
question?
please.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you were to talk to an alien right now, what would you tell them is the number one thing that they need to eat? As in, what's your favorite meal?
Oh boy, Tim, go ahead. Oh no, sorry, Debs, you go ahead.
Actually, I'd be so afraid that they'd get hurt by what I like to eat. I love Eastern food that includes Indian, Korean, Japanese, Chinese,
Yeah.
and of course Mexican food because my dad's Texan. So so I would be afraid that those would be harmful for them. So I would just tell them to drink lots of water.
Not very fulfilling filling of the belly. Tim, what are you telling the other non-human intelligence you want them to eat?
Well, for me, this is a no-brainer because it may be happening already. It may already be connected with aliens and cattle mutilations. It's my favorite theory about cattle mutilations, and that is if aliens are us from the future, they may simply be coming back to abduct cattle for what could be a rare delicacy in the future, and that is a steak, a nice steak.
I mean, for me, I'd rather have like a smash burger with cheese, but okay, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, you're a little bit more of a, hoity-toity than me. Go ahead, Akashi.
Flan.
Flan!
Oh, yeah.
And not
I
just
got a
flan.
recipe. I got a
Flan de
recipe.
queso. Cheese flan. It is like you get transported to a different
Yeah.
world. So I'm hoping that will make them keep us. Flan.
Ruthie, I love it. Flan, go ahead.
Ruthie.
I would say a seafood
Bye,
boil.
Benny. Seafood pollo?
Oh,
Seafood boil. I want
Boil,
everything.
okay.
I want
Boil.
octopus. I want
Louisiana.
shrimps.
Mhm.
I want octopus. I want crabs. I want oh my God. Everything. Seafood, everything.
Mm.
Totally. Bia, what are you telling the aliens they need to eat?
I think they need to try a Cuban dish, and I think they will be satisfied for the rest of their life. Some lechon, some black beans and rice, some yuca, and some sweet plantains. So
It's a complete meal, man. I can't argue
it's a
with that
complete
one.
meal.
She
Yes.
brought the whole things,
Yeah.
tapas.
I'm
I'd rather
taking the
have
whole thing.
She brought it all.
I'd rather have
Guanito.
tostones than plantains. Will that work?
Ooh.
Tostones?
Sí,
Instead
claro
of-
que sí.
Tostones, yeah. Oh yeah, maduro, tostone, yeah. It's just one salty, one sweet. So
Yeah.
they can have a little bit of each.
For me, I'm going to go to my standard. It's the whole food version of cheese doodles. Like there's like the Whole Foods cheese puffs. So I'm just going to go, hey, take a bag of this, have at it. You're just going to love it. So, all right.
Cheese puffs. You give the aliens cheesy poofs.
I mean, I wanted to go simple. I'm
Give
not
them a
gonna,
snack.
I'm not gonna try to outdo that. Look at Boston Bia just gave him a complete Cuban meal, savory, sweet
I thought you were going to
beans,
say
rice,
some New York
lechon.
pizza. New York
anything.
pizza.
I wanted to go
Come
simple
on.
for this one.
We
All
know
All right,
right.
guys, we got to get out of here. It has been 2.5 hours of really. We expect you to do an hour and a half, but it really was a lot of fun. And I really appreciate everybody being here, the cabbies, and our guest, and Ruthie's a cabbie too. But you will see these mods come on screen with us and do shows. We did a mod roundtable recently. We will do another. And someone mentioned Dave Scott. I will work through Jules or Courtney if I need be to get Dave Scott for our Canadian roundtable. That should be a blast. And Jonna is practicing sort of a hammed up Canadian accent for you guys. All right. So anyway, bye everybody. Please hit that subscribe button. Please give us a like if you would, and we will see you on August 1st. Ciao, everybody.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night. Who else is